board members, our board vice president, Evan Major. Our treasurer, Dennis Lucas. We have our chief financial officer here, Sherry Lyman. We have our HFT president, Michelle Cook. Curriculum department, Sharon Stream. EL department, Julia Ahmed. Special services, Shalika Roby. Also like to recognize Dr. Len Musersky, who's been here forever and has been helping me and helping the school board be successful. Dr. Musersky. Also the audience from Wayne Risa, he is our blueprint man, Mr. Russ Robinson. Very appreciative and thankful that the city manager of the city of Hamtramck is joining us today, Kathy Angler. And the chief of police of the city of Hamtramck is also here, Ann Boyce. And everyone in the audience, teachers, administrators, thank you so much for coming. You're very classy. We appreciate you get here. We've accomplished a lot in Hamtramck Public Schools over the last several years, and we're moving forward with a lot of great plans. With that being said, tomorrow morning a electronic version of the PowerPoint will be sent to everyone in the district. There's some links in there that you won't have in your hard copy, but obviously will be there. In addition to that, Mr. Wilkinson from our technology department is videotaping this, and that will be placed on our website also by Monday. So that's something else to look forward to. So let us begin. State of District Address, February 27, 2019. District goals. Our overarching goal is all students will successfully complete each grade level and are course taking and demonstrate proficiency in local, state, and national assessments. Just so you know, these goals have been developed over time, over several years. The board, sincerely, and Dr. Musersky have worked real hard to vet all this out, to make sure it makes sense, that we're meeting the needs of what the board wants, what the community expects, what teachers expect, administrators expect, and it's an ongoing project that we're working on. Is very worthwhile. I won't go through them all, but the academic performance improved reading and math scores by 36% on district and statewide assessments. You'll hear more about some of those other things from data reviews, MTSS from Mrs. Roby, EL students from Mrs. Ahmed, youth voice. That has moved up. And the goal is to have it in all school plans and district improvement plans. That is not in place yet. It is a priority. However, I do want you to know that the Board of Education is working on a resolution of having students have a seat at the board table. That's going to happen pretty soon. How many and how's it going to look? How do we select the kids? Those are some of the details that need to get worked out. But the board and the administration are committed for that to happen. Third, finances. Communicate all information about HBS finances. Recreation is to eliminate deficits, develop and implement facility plan. The facility plan, you'll hear more about that from Mrs. Lyman, but just so you know, the Building and Site Committee is now part of what is called the Committee of the Whole. And the second Tuesday of every month, the Committee of the Whole will meet. So all the committees we have in place, the bylaws, community, recreation, school improvement, building and sites, finance, we're meeting on that one day. And it's a new project where we've taken Northfield model and we made it the Hamtramck model. It is our plan, it is our way of doing it, but we do have a template that we're working from. Staffing, retain and recruit high quality staff. If you're a new teacher, been hired in the last 2 years, you know that the process that we're using to hiring staff is grueling. It's top notch. The final interview with professional staff is in my desk, and that's the easy part. I mean, what's going on with the hiring of new staff, it is truly remarkable, and the new staff appreciate it. They like to be challenged, and I just can't thank Risa enough for having us involved in that. Okay, with that being said, we're going to move on to HFT President Michelle Cook.
Good afternoon. So I was invited to speak, and I thought, what am I going to speak about in, as terms of the whole district? And I was on a conference call last night with Randy Weingarten, who is our national AFT president. AFT is spearheading an initiative called Fund Our Future. We've heard a lot about how our schools are underfunded. Underfunded doesn't even cut it. The word that I heard on that conference call last night was starved. Our schools are starved. We've made do for so long, and we've been so creative to try to meet the needs that we hardly recognize anymore how many resources have been drained from our schools. At the same time that I had gotten information from that conference call, David Hecker was sending out an email, David Hecker, our state president, calling on us to educate folks in the community, in our schools, school board members, everybody who is a stakeholder in our schools, about the School Finance Research Collaborative. School Finance Research Collaborative also recognized with extensive research that we aren't getting the funding that we need to best educate our students. Some of the things that the School Finance Research Collaborative recommended: they believe that the base per pupil cost to educate a regular education K-12 student in Michigan should be $9,590 per pupil. Currently, Hamtramck receives $7,871 per pupil. But that's just a base. The Research Collaborative also recognizes that some students are going to need more funding. See if some of these categories sound familiar. They recommend that if the community experiences poverty, that you should add an additional 35% to that $9,000 number. They believe that if you have ELL students, that it should be between 50 to 70% on top of that, depending on where they are in the WIDA. Are they a level 1, 2? Are they a level 3, 4? They believe that you should have additional education dollars going for special education. They believe that if you have a school district that has less than 7,500 students, there should be additional funding because of the economies of scale. These things are being discussed, and they are, right now, people are collaborating and speaking to legislators, communities, talking with people about what can we do to make sure that we fund our schools appropriately. So I'm asking everyone here today, please look into these initiatives. Find out more about the School Finance Research Collaborative. I know that Mr. Nichai is also on board with getting that education out. I'm sure that we will have things that we will put together, that we can get information out in the community. Look for Fund Our Future, which is an initiative to, again, bring much needed dollars to the districts. And you might say, well, what is all this percentage going to go to? Well, they actually spelled it out. Instead of just saying, well, we need this much percentage more, they're talking about what do you spend that money on? Spending that money on things like instructional coaches, guidance counselors, nurses, instructional aides, library media specialists, English language learner staffs, for instance, teachers and tutors, and pupil support positions, special education staff, having more teachers for that ratio. So they've really done a very thorough job with the School Finance Research Collaborative in thinking about what are the needs and what is the proper amount of funding to realize the best supports for our students to give them the future that they deserve. Thank you.
Thanks, Mrs. Cook. And just to follow up with what Mrs. Cook says, through emails that include Mrs. Cook and AFT Michigan President Dr. Hecker, been working back and forth to try to make sure that this really does happen. One of the handouts that is at the table is a study done by Michigan State University. When you get the electronic version of the PowerPoint, there's going to be a hyperlink to it, a 91-page report that confirms exactly what the collaborative came up with. Is yes, it's true, it's very much needed. And in addition to that, the greatest or the area that needs funding the most, that's the least funded, is English language learners. And that, as you know here in Hamtramck, is huge. So yes, the poverty matters, of course, and special ed population, but EL services. And it's just not, trying to get more money from the schools. These are business groups. These are professionals. This is a professor from Michigan State University digging into it to see if this is really true. I think you're going to find it extremely important. In addition to that, we're going to work with the city of Hamtramck. AFT Michigan President Dr. Hecker has been in contact with City Manager Kathy Angler, and we need to help each other. We are one community, we are one school district, we are one city, and we know about General Motors. We'll talk a little bit more about it later there, but we are a family here, and I know he says it all the time, but it's true. We need each other, and we have some really good things going in the city, and they're going to continue. With that being said, we'll move right along because we're going to get out of here very, very quickly. We're not going to hold you here longer than a half hour, I hope. So the next part is our Chief Financial Officer, Sherry Ryan.
Good afternoon, everyone. So, I'm glad Michelle and Mr. Meachine spoke on the school funding issue because it's very important. Despite the funding, despite being underfunded, Hamtramck is doing very well. Last year, when we had the State of the District address, we spoke about the financial health of the district, and I was able to show you that Hamtramck is very healthy financially. So a year later, how are we doing? Have we maintained our health or what's going on? And very happy to say that we are in very good financial condition. We have a surplus in all of our funds. Based on our audited financial statements, the general fund has a $9.8 million surplus. Cafeteria fund has $1 million surplus. And recreation fund has an operating surplus this past year and has an overall surplus of $850,000. Safety fund, we don't carry a balance there because that money was used to put a roof on the high school last year. In the previous year, we had $300,000 fund balance in the safety fund, and that combined with the collections in 17-18, we were able to put the roof on the high school, which was at a cost of about $1.3 million. So $1 million from safety fund and $300,000 from the general fund we paid for the high school roof last year. So our strength is in our numbers. Each year, about $45 million flows into Hamtramck to operate Hamtramck Public Schools. That's in 4 distinct funds. The sinking fund last year brought in $760,000, and the expenditures in the sinking fund was $1.1 million. Again, it was mainly the roof at the high school. Cafeteria fund, $2.5 million revenue, $2.4 million in expenditures. Recreation revenue, $880,000, and expenditures, $863,000. So each of our funds have a balanced budget. There's an operating surplus in each of our funds, and what that means is that we spent less than we received in revenue. We received an unmodified audit opinion from our auditing firm, and that's the highest possible rating that you can receive. Our general fund balance as a percentage of expenditures is 24.26. And to give you an idea of how important that is, the statewide average for all school districts is 10.4%, and we're at 24.26%. Looking at the general fund, almost $41 million of the district's revenue comes in through the general fund. That's what we use to do the primary operating of the district. We received $2.3 million in local revenue, and that's primarily from tax revenue, also some donations, facility rentals, and athletic events. State revenues is mainly state aid and state grants. Federal revenues, our largest source of federal revenues of the $6.4 million is Title I. We also received large Title II grant and other federal grants. Intermediate sources of $1.6 million, $1.1 million of that was the enhancement millage, countywide enhancement millage. We received about $1.1 million, 6-year millage, and we're now in the 4th year of that, so we've got this year and 2 additional years. So it's really going to be important that when it comes time for that to be renewed, that we renew that, or that would be a big loss of revenue for the district. So it's great, almost $41 million in revenue. We're going to jump for joy. We got a bag full of cash, but we've got expenditures to match what we bring in. Salaries and benefits, $28 million. So that's 70% of our expenditures is salaries and benefits. And then the balance we pay for supplies and materials, purchase services, which is our contracted services, clean our buildings, security, and any company that we pay to do services for the district, and capital projects. So what are the ongoing priorities for the district? What does the board want to do with the revenue that we receive each year and the fund balance that we have accumulated? Well, the most important thing is improvement of instruction. We spend a lot of time and money making sure that we are getting the materials and supplies that our students need, hiring the teachers and the staff that we need. We have new reading curriculum, new science curriculum, math CLCs. We've increased our spending in music and the arts, which children were sorely missing. We've added additional teachers over the last few years, more parents in the classrooms to help with education, teacher training and PD. We've increased our spending on EL support. We're assisting teachers to receive their EL endorsements if they don't have it. We're hiring EL, parent and patient engagement personnel, EL teachers, and ELD specialists. Technology, last year we spent nearly $500,000 in technology, $465,000, on desktop computers, Chromebooks, tablets, interactive display boards, network and Wi-Fi connections. A major priority for the board is infrastructure. Our buildings are old. When we are in deficit and at times we're more lean, we have very little money to maintain our buildings and certainly no money to do any improvement in our buildings. So that's something that we've been focusing our money on the last few years, improving our buildings. We put new boilers in buildings, new roofs in buildings. Dickinson East got a new gym floor last year, new doors, new kitchens in 2 buildings now, a new classroom. We're planning on doing something with the parking lot across the street from Talveda. Right now, it's a crumbling parking lot. We need to put a place area for the children over there with some green space and leave parking space for the staff. And another major priority for the board coming this year is to give our oldest building, historic Holbrook Elementary, some attention. Holbrook's going to be getting a new roof. Going to be working on the outer shell of the building, being the windows and the facing of the building, giving it a fresh look and upgrade. So the third priority of the district is maintaining the fund balance. We have to make sure that the district is financially sound so that we can continue to do all the things that we need to do. The board policy states that we will maintain at least a 15% fund balance. And the reason for that is we have to be prepared if there's reductions in funding, for any unexpected expenses, increase in labor costs, and unfunded mandates. So the challenge for us is to make sure that all of these 3 pieces flow together. While doing the infrastructure that we need and improving instruction, we have to also maintain that fund balance. So we have to make sure that all 3 pieces of those work together. So I think we've done very well with the finances of the district and keeping the district strong financially. But just imagine what we could do if we were adequately funded.
Yes, a lot of good work has gone on, but also it is also my responsibility to let you know that funding is still an issue in terms of the repairs that our buildings need. Mr. Lyman talked about work that's going to happen at Holbrook and at Talveda in the parking lot, but there's so much more. And the school finance research collaborative has been supported by Michigan State University, saying that we are truly underfunding. The sinking fund is not designed to build new schools, to build additions. It's just to replace broken parts and so on. We have done well. The city of Hamtramck, the taxpayers, a lot of money's gone out, been collected from them, but our needs are great. But we're never going to stop. We're going to make sure it all goes. So if we take a look at the funding, not being received, but 74% is received as state aid. The 78, 71 that Mrs. Cook talked about is the lowest amount across the state of Michigan. Mrs. Cook also mentioned about the $9,590 that's being recommended. But again, CTE funding, EL funding, special ed funding, poverty funding, those are extremely needed. Our enrollment is up to 3,300 from prior year. The governor and legislature determine the annual increase or decrease. Our peer approval funding means changes as enrollment changes. And so when we worry about snow days, when there's the spring count, and I thought it was pretty funny that they call it spring count, it's the second February, or the second Wednesday of February, and it's snowing like it's, I don't know where it snows like Alaska, maybe Grayling, but it's incredible, the amount of snow. GM plant closing. Back in November, an announcement was made, and this is where Dr. Hecker and myself and Mrs. Cook started putting our heads together and worked with the city of Hamtramck, Mrs. Anger and her finance director, Mrs. Hendricks, and also Dr. Mazursky. And we have to show that Hamtramck is not gonna die, we're not gonna be, turn off the lights and go away. We are gonna work together. The school district is losing money also. Now, there was some good news, I think it was Friday that came out, that the plans to remain open through January. That's 7 months, but that's still, they're still planning to close, and that's huge. But through partnership with going together, with making sure that we truly are a community that cares about the youth. It really doesn't matter what's important, for an older fellow like me, but the kids, and what we're trying to do with Ralph Wilson and some of these other things that we talk about in a few minutes, it is again huge. But Kathy Anger has let the city know, the city council know that there could be a $11 million deficit by 2023 for the city of Hamtramck. I have a budget of $16 million. That's serious. But we're not going to cry over spilled milk. We're going to build things forward. There is a commitment for this to happen. So I will send out again the impact on the school district for the planned closing. And there's other things going on within the city of Hamtramck that you have to be aware of, and we have to come together with. The governor has not put out a 1920 budget yet. I think it's coming up very shortly, and we believe it's going to be an increase. Next, parent dashboard for transparency. The latest school index scores, their embargo, your building principal has those results. We can't talk about it publicly, but they will be out again shortly. You can talk it internally among the staff, so check with your building principal, and that's the site to look at. So with that being said, we'll move along to our English language development program, and Mrs. Ahmed.
Good afternoon, and thank you to each and every one of you who took the time out of your busy day to join us. Allow me, before I begin, to share a conversation that I had with my children, Zakaria and Rehana. They are both in college. So basically, they asked me, what do I do? I looked at them and I'm like, you still don't know? So I shared with them, well, I'm responsible for making sure that we're in compliance both at the state level and at the federal level. I make sure that we are identifying students and we're providing adequate services. And, they just looked at me like I was just out of this world. They didn't get it. So I go back. I sometimes default to my native tongue, and I defaulted and I said, ليش ما تفهموني? Why can't you understand me? So, putting back my teacher hat, understanding the necessary need to create an emotional hook, I said, whatever it takes. That's what I do, whatever it takes. So when parents approach me with issues, an example of many issues was the concern of the food. I made sure to work with the food and service director, the parent engagement liaisons, and make sure that we brought everybody together in the discussions with the director and really target what are our areas and what can we do together. So again, whatever it takes, what does that mean? What does that mean? It's not one person, but it is every person in the system has an obligation to be an instrument for cultural, to create partnerships with various universities. And I'm happy to report HFC, Henry Ford College, we have 2 classes going on this year that are AP. Whatever it takes. Teachers in our district, when I came to this district, we had a very, very short number of teachers that were or had an ESL certification. And soon after, we worked together and created partnerships with Wayne State University and a variety of different institutions. Wayne State University, HPS, with the support of and the collaboration of Mrs. Lynham, Mr. Nichai, and Mrs. Cook. Our district is providing 100% reimbursement to make sure that the teachers go through the program. Considering that we already have a shortage of ESL certified teachers statewide, it was necessary to make sure that our district meets the demand and solve the problem, doing whatever it takes. We now have 20 teachers that are in the program, and I'm happy to report 2 are soon going to receive their certificate. Catherine Voss and Marianne Losey. Whatever it takes. This is the wonderful group of people that I work with, our English language development teachers. They provide services to 65% of our student population in the district. And that is not including our fellows. And the fellows are our students that have recently exited the program. They're not within the 65% ratio. Those students, just in the previous year, 475 of them, and 82 that were last year identified are a part of the 35% of students. This is where we are at. And again, whatever it takes. The ELD teachers and ELD specialists wear and have multiple hats. Not only are they providing services for our students, but they also are testing coordinators. They are also SIOP coaches. As SIOP coaches, for those of you that do not know, the SIOP is a model. It stands for Shelter Instruction Observation Protocol. And within that model, the teachers work to provide services for our English learners. So not only did they lead the efforts in our district to provide PBIS professional development for our administrative team, for our ELD team, but they took it up a notch and provided instructional rounds where they worked with the DENA teachers to look at the practice of teaching and have the true conversations that are necessary to make the changes and improvements in our district. Whatever it takes. Our parent engagement committee consists of, most recently, 2 facilitators and 4 parent engagement liaisons. I cannot list the amount of work that they do. They provide services within the school district. They are at events, district-wide events. They're running 2 life skills classes, the newcomer engagement program. They're not only teaching English, they're teaching the life skills, the necessary skills that our parents need to know. Not only to acculturate, but also to have and make better life for them in the new country. I would like to point out, our English learners are also what we call SLIFE. They're students with limited or interrupted educational backgrounds, which makes it a little bit more difficult and a little bit more challenging for us because they don't have the educational background that is necessary. We have to do so much more. And in that regard, we count on our parent liaisons to teach them literacy skills and promote literacy at home, bridging between home and school, whatever it takes. Our student engagement youth committee was a part of many decisions and many changes and many improvements at the high school level. Our English Learners Youth Voice and Engagement Committee met with the food director, various people, to make instrumental change. We cannot do it alone. As you can see, and as you heard in the previous people that spoke, you heard collaboration, you heard partnerships, you heard family. That's what we are all about. As you can see, these are just a few of our partners that we have current relationships with. Collaborative partnerships. And this is my final note. Collaborative partnerships. Partnerships are not hard work, but hard work. Not more work, but the work. Not harder work, but smarter work. To mobilize all available resources that will contribute to student success. Thank you for being here, and thank all of you for everything that you do on a daily basis.
Thank you, Mrs. Ahmed. Before I bring up Mrs. Roby to talk about PBIS, relationships, social emotional supports and behavior, just want to follow up a little bit about something that Mrs. Ahmed said so it doesn't get by. Those 20 teachers that are involved in that EL Endorsement program, the school district is paying their tuition. There is no other public district, including Dearborn, including Detroit, including Ann Arbor, including Bloomfield, that fully pays for the teachers to get that endorsement. And that is something that we really believe is truly needed, given our population and our respect to the teachers and the needs to make sure that we are attracting people. So I just, want to throw that little commercial in because some of you know I care a little bit about the finances. So with that being said, Mrs. Roby, Director of Special Services.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm here just to give a brief update about our PBIS district-wide committee as well as our MTSS committee. For those of you that don't know Mrs. St. Germain, Ms. St. Germain, would you wait? She co-chairs our district-wide PBIS committee. We went about 3 years ago and decided to join with Chris McAvoy of Wayne Risa and declare our district a PBIS district. A few years ago, maybe 7 years ago, we had a few buildings that participated in PBIS, but currently we participate as a district. We want to go about changing mindsets of not only our students, but our adults that interface with our students on a daily basis to promote positive thinking, positive behaviors, and just overall positive experiences for our students as they go to school on a daily basis. And so as I mentioned in St. Germain, my co-chair, we have building representatives from all buildings, including Ms. Curtis, our alternative high school building, Ms. Abby Stover, who we appreciate so much. And we meet monthly to discuss what's taking place in our buildings, how we can improve upon what's going on in our buildings from not just the academic side of things, but from the social, emotional side and behavioral aspect, as well as attendance and health. We look at all of that under the guise of PBIS, and we need a definite mind shift with everyone to continue our efforts. These are examples within our buildings of PBIS that's going on, and just different efforts and initiatives that are taking place within our buildings, K through 12. Our district-wide expectations and what we have been working on for the last consecutive 2 years, our focus areas are 4-to-1 ratio, meaning that we have 4 positives here per 1 not so positive. And that's not just for our students, but also for us as adults to interface with one another, because no one wants to always be inundated with negative things. And we find and research shows that the more positivity that you promote and provide to a person, the more they'll open up and the more response and productivity you receive. Opportunities to respond. That is another one of our initiatives under the guide of PBIS, where it's not just lecturing to our students, but offering them the opportunity to respond, because they learn better when they are interacting with one another and able to guide the conversation as it relates to their academics. Active supervision is our third top one that we have been rigorously working on. And I want to give a little kudos to our high school team, because they really have taken this initiative and just kind of gone full force over the years. I've been there with them, and they've done donut pass outs during the Holy Week. As of means for them to be actively in the hallways and seeing what's going on and supervising, but when students are on target and on task, they'll just drop in and give the whole class donuts. So kudos to you. Other initiatives that we are going to be working up to, because the first three are our top areas that we're focusing on, but increased parent communication as well as decreased office discipline referrals. We are working on all of those collectively, but the first three have been our top three expectations for the past 2 years. All buildings have monthly celebrations and assemblies, and just positive attitudes about PBIS. Moving into our MTSS arena, which is a framework underneath PBIS, to be quite honest. Our MTSS is multi-tiered systems of support. Whenever I say MTSS to folks, they're like, what is that? When I say formerly known as RTI, and then it's like, oh, response to intervention. So just to get everybody on one understanding of what MTSS stands for. But we took the initiative as a district team last year to really revamp the process, and we gave it a rebrand, so to speak. And we moved from the ITM process to the MTSS process. And with that hard work, there's a district team that goes along with this as well, and we meet monthly. Every building has representation. And this year, we've added an additional layer via a new district coach, Ms. Jamie Denchowski. And I'm sure that a few of you may know her, and if you have not, I'm sure you will be meeting her because she's making appointments to go around and meet with all the MTSS teams. But this is our academic vehicle, so to speak, to help work with students where they are, to determine what additional supports all of our students need, whether they're at a tier 1 and just need extra accommodations in a classroom, or whether they're at tier 3 and they need to work in a 2 to 3 group setting with an additional teacher or paraprofessional, extra support. This is actually your turn to share. So thank you guys. And I'm going to turn it over.
Thank you, Mrs. Roby. And just to repeat, all the speakers so far, what they're saying is sincere, well thought out, well planned, are making progress. There's not been any formal announcement about this next slide, and it's going to be coming this month, but it's something that's extremely exciting. There's a partnership that Hamtramck Public Schools has now had with Detroit Public Schools. In December, jointly, we're going to receive $1 million from the Marshall Plan to prepare students to qualify for high school jobs that are in demand. So today, for example, the high school counselors, along with Mrs. Green and high school assistant principal Mr. Kiner, met in the administration building and went through credits, what counts, how these kids can do it. On Monday, myself and Mrs. Lyman, a couple other team members are going to be going to Detroit Public Schools to work on the memo of understanding in terms of exactly how it's going to work. But what it comes down to is an opportunity to send a certain number of students over the next 3 years to the Career Tech program at Randolph Center in Detroit. We're going to start with 30 students. Randolph Center is located on Hubble and 6 Mile. Our students will be bused there. We'll be taking field trips to the Randolph Center during March, getting kids involved and excited. This is truly something we're extremely proud of. A lot of work has been done with this by Sharon Screen and Sherry Lyman and others and myself, and we're proud of it. And the ultimate goal is for students to pass certification tests in career fields that are highest demand. And what we're focusing on is electrical, plumbing, masonry, welding, and HVAC. And that's huge. Obviously, when we're still dealing with building repairs and expanding and fixing parking lots that have huge sinkholes in it, there's no way to be able to afford the Career Tech center that is necessary to train our kids. So this opportunity is something that we're very excited about. And more will be coming this month. But rest assured, the high school students, I think it's going to go back to the middle school. Some training is going to happen over the next 3 years to make sure our kids are prepared and walk out of here, if they so choose, to get a job. As a plumber, as an electrician, masonry, but these are the areas we focus on because that's what the grant is. Next, Ralph Wilson Foundation. Kathy Anger, city manager, and myself, we were fortunate enough to receive a grant of $800,000 from Ralph Wilson. As soon as the snow melts, I think the first full week in March, we're going to rip out the turf at Kiev Stadium, put a new turf, artificial turf. That's a $450,000 project. There's a master plan being developed for Hamtramck Stadium, Veterans Park, Playfair, and I just received a letter yesterday from Dave Anger, who is the CEO of the Ralph Wilson Foundation, thanking Hamtramck Public Schools for participating in the Teen Options initiative that's on our website. That means whether students or staff went out there and gave their opinion. This is huge. For us to be participating with them is what Ralph Wilson wants. And I can show you this letter. It's just a stepping stone. It doesn't guarantee anything, but it shows that there's but we have to follow these steps, and we are following these steps. Again, the president and CEO of Ralph Wilson. He asked for a letter. I'm sure people in Western New York got it also, but Hamtramck is there. Hamtramck is there, and I'm very proud of that. Okay, the next blueprint work. Everyone has seen this numerous times. I won't go into it. It's still there. But the DN meets every week. It used to be the DTN, some of us still call it that, District Turnaround Network. Well, with encouragement from our administrators, from our HT presidents, saying, well, I think we've kind of turned our academics around somewhat in some areas, so let's get rid of, the turnaround part of it. We still have a long way to go, far from perfect, so now we call ourselves the district network. And we are building effective district systems which promote high-quality teaching and learning, leading to increasing student achievement. Our goal is student support, leadership network, instructional infrastructure, student support. This is key. Culture responsive kickoff to continue to support the adopted vision. There's a year-long series for K-12 administrators and teachers, changing minds to address poverty in the classroom. So those things you have to do during your PLC, it's important and it counts and it makes a difference with our kids and it makes a difference in the instruction that we are offering. Leadership network. We hold ourselves highly accountable for assisting our students to achieve at high levels. The administrators and myself are receiving training and we're learning to be better when it comes to instruction and what to look for and to look at what students are doing, not just what teachers are doing. It's a whole new method. It's something we're excited about. You can talk to John Rosted, a teacher at the high school, Daniel Nagel at Talbetta. It's hard work. It's fun work. Thanks to Russ Robinson and everybody at RESA are coming out and making us work hard every Monday. Okay, with that being said, we'll move on to instructional infrastructure. And here today is Secondary Curriculum Director Sharon String.
Hi everyone, I'm the last speaker. Instructional infrastructure, a big name for curriculum and instruction, and we've been working really, really hard, and I'm seeing some of our teachers who are becoming our teacher leaders for curriculum in the audience, and I cannot tell you this has been the most groundbreaking work I've ever seen in my history of working in a lot of places. So We have already done a lot with elementary. We have adopted the curriculum. We're continuing to review it. I see Dr. Martin's in the audience. She's taken a key leadership role to help us continue to look at and find. It takes 3 to 5 years to really get into a curriculum. The whole concept of turning something around in a year, you just can't. You've got too much on your plate. So we're very pleased with that. We have the same thing going with math, and again, Ms. Robinson is in the audience to represent RISA, and without their consultants, it would have been almost impossible to do. So we really are deeply grateful to RISA, a very important partner. I also see some of our music and art people here in the audience. I see Emily and I see Max, if you want to raise your hands. They're really working hard and kindly donated money that we've been given for instruments, and that has put new life in music. We've got more supplies for art. We're coming together for a big event. Isn't it on the 26th? Am I right? That will have both music and art here at the thing. So we are really getting more visibility for our art program as well, so we're very proud of that. As far as English language arts at the high school level, I am telling you, we put as our vision, we will help children love to read. Isn't that an interesting concept in a test world that we live in? And the truth is, it's happening. We cannot believe what we're seeing when we've introduced choice reading, book clubs, so kids are picking to read what they want to read about, and the scores in some of the inventories we're giving are just really blowing out of the water. We couldn't be more happy. Our staff are to be commended for their leadership. We're getting visitors to the classrooms. It's absolutely wonderful. We are going to go farther with more rigor, and I really think our team at the high school and at Horizon and at our secondary level is going to do brilliant things. We're going to be working on we have, believe it or not, new standards for computer science. And Mr. Maher is in the audience, and he's graciously volunteered to help us with that. Mr. Hartzer and several others, because we have to work more on integrating computers with more intentionality into our curriculum, and we're doing that as well. So we've done a lot. There's a lot more to do. And the other thing we're very proud of, we have this wonderful Marshall grant in partnership with Detroit. The other new partnership we have is with Michigan State University. And I'm learning a lot about that. Michigan State is a national leader. It is also a state leader in STEM. I've heard the word STEM a lot. I didn't know what it meant until I got involved with Michigan State. And I'm seeing several of our key teacher leaders in the audience today because we formed a new curriculum council to implement these new national standards. The instructional shift from what we remember as science teaching is completely different now. And it is the most exciting thing we've seen in a long time. I would like to ask the new science curriculum leadership CLC members to stand, if you would, if you're in the audience. There's one over there. And would you please give them a round of applause? I cannot tell you the leadership at the teacher level to the leaders of this is making the whole difference. We are so excited. We believe, and so does Michigan State, that we could become an exemplary district in the implementation of a true science with STEM program. And they're going to be coming in and they're going to be researching our students. They're going to be giving us units free. We're going to have professional development by Michigan State University. We are absolutely positioned to be a model for science education in Michigan. And they're particularly interested because we have populations that they want to study, and they're going to support us with all kinds of supports to learn more about how we can make that really a viable thing for them. So, and it's very student-centered, this science thing. I've never seen anything like it, but I really would have gone into science had I been taught like this, because it's so student-centered. The kids reason on phenomenon. We don't say what's the answer, is this right, is it wrong? We really, really are doing a different approach, the way a real scientist would work. And we're also bringing in math into science. We're bringing technology into science. We're bringing other things into science that is really making it the way it's supposed to be. Our kids will be really ready for Michigan State University science programs in engineering or biochemistry or whatever by the time they get done. We're going to have a K-12 Michigan State University curriculum throughout all of our schools. They are going to give us something. They have an institute. We went down to Lansing. They're actually creating a whole building called Create for STEM. And all of the professors are there. The people who design the standards are talking to us. It's a very impressive site. And our K2, and I'm looking at Colleen, Stevens, and all the preschool programs and kindergarten programs are going to study those. We're going to have national science standards in K1, 2. So they're going to be so used to this inquiry model that by the time they get to high school, we'll be able to go really, really deep into the reasoning behind the science and the integration of all of that. Am I overly excited here? Sorry. It's all project-based too. I already talked about that. We've already done a lot. All of our secondary science people have had 30 hours of training in the new generation science standards. Our elementary teachers, several of whom are in the audience, they're getting a full 3-day program in the new standards as well. So they're all going to be grounded in the same principles. So when we bring in the units, it isn't one expert telling all the other people what to do. We're in this together. We're a team. And we're going to be changing units, adding, subtracting, or getting information from each other. It's a true collaboration. So we've already done that. We are already adopting a 9th grade physical science, and it is going extremely well. And MSU is very, very pleased with what we've been doing. So with that said,
It all starts at the top. Just like to again recognize the Board of Education, who is leading our district and doing a very good job of it. Although out of us 7, we only have 2 board members today, but that does not tell the whole story that all 7 are truly committed to Hamtramck Public Schools. I do again want to personally thank all the teachers, all the administrators that came here. A special thank you to Dr. Mazursky, to Dr. Seropoulos, City Manager Anger, Police Chief Moyes, the publisher of the review, and John Lulai is here. Thank you. Without us working together, we have little. When we are working together, we can do tremendous things. We have our rating, and we'll continue. Please, if you're hungry, and the person put in free food there, so you go. Support the Health Hike at Baker Streetcar Bar. Support the girls' tennis team Thursday, that's tomorrow, I believe, at Main Street for their lunch or dinner. Friday, support the Princess Prom. There are other things going on to support the theater group. We are Hamtramck Public Schools. Thank you for your attendance, and again, look for the PowerPoint to be sent directly to your inbox tomorrow. And please check out the thing from Michigan State about finances and the other study that Mrs. Cook was talking about. Thank you for your time. It's appreciated. There's nothing more important to this nation's future than investing in our young people. Me necessarily. I gave this quite a bit of thought because of Ralph Wilson, Michelle Obama. So thank you for attending.